I was 10 when it happened. I remember spring came early and my dad had piled my mom and me into the family car for the long drive to see my mother's eldest sister in Minnesota. I had already fallen in love with maps. I had hundreds of them. This was back when gas stations gave them out free. My aunts and uncles, all of whom loved to travel, brought me bushel baskets of maps. I soon discovered that special green markers on maps designated the locations of the hundreds of roadside tables and picnic areas that used to dot the landscape back in the years of two-lane roads. When we were a few miles from one on the map, I mentioned to my dad that coming up might be a good place to stop and have lunch. My dad agreed. Within a few minutes, as we rounded a curve in southern Wisconsin, we saw the pull-off and turned in. Now, my dad had an old Coleman ice chest that he filled each morning of the trip. He kept our 6-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola in the ice. That was back in the days before we all found out we were diabetic. At the top of the chest was a metal tray that hung from the top flange of the chest. In it were slices of cheese and bologna and a tiny jar of mayonnaise. Mom kept a loaf of Wonder Bread in the back of the car. Mom got out of the car, bread in hand. After taking some litter out of the car, I went to one of the picnic area's trash barrels. A moment later, I heard my dad utter his favorite nasty word. It never sounded gruff coming from my dad. After all, he grew up on a farm. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Oh, the tray fell into the ice and ice water, and the cheese and bologna are ruined," he replied. From one of the picnic tables on the other side of the pull-off area came a voice. "We can share with you if you wish." My mom and dad and I turned. There at another table was an elderly couple. On the table in front of them were hams and sliced meats and cheeses and 4 different kinds of breads. They even had potato chips and containers of potato salad. I noticed that the man was in a wheelchair. He identified himself. "I'm Alan King," he told my family. I will never forget his name. He had the same name as the comedian Alan King. "And this is my wife, Amanda." We not only shared their feast, but within a few minutes, my dad found that Mr. King, before he retired, did the same kind of job at his Montgomery Ward store that my dad was doing back home. There was instant chemistry. My mom and Miss King hit it off, too. Both made quilts, and both were pianists. I joined in the conversations as much as I could. When it came time to go, I turned to Mr. King, and in the voice and vocabulary of a 10-year-old, I told him what a nice time we had had, and that sadly we might never cross paths again. "I know we won't see each other again," Mr. King said in a soft voice. "I have about 2 months to live. You see, I'm dying, and my wife and I didn't want to spend our final time alone. We wanted to share what we had with others, and coming out here to the highway seemed a good way to do it. After all, I met you, didn't I?" I looked over. My mom had suddenly begun to cry. My dad could not find words. I was shocked. No one in my life had ever looked me in the face and told me they were about to die. I remember how silently my mom and dad got into the car after returning our ice chest to the trunk. I got in the front seat and we drove off. No one said anything for at least 10 minutes. Then suddenly my dad pulled off the road, turned off the car, and began to sob. 1 minute or so later, he pulled back on the highway, making a U-turn. You see, in all the drama of the moment with Mr. and Miss King, my dad had pulled out and gone the wrong way. About 10 minutes later, we passed the picnic area again. Another family was there sharing Mr. and Miss King's kindness. I'll never forget that day. It was 55 years ago. In my mind's eye, I can still see those 2 wonderful people and the incredible array of foods they had spread out on that old picnic table. They thought they were sharing just their food, but they were sharing more than that. To me, they had shared a lesson in life. with my mom and dad on that 2-lane road in Wisconsin, for one brief moment, I'm 10 years old again.